This morning on BRN, putting together your divorce team. Joining me now to discuss this, Alex Jacobson of the Jacobson Mediation Group. Alex, so great to see you again. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me back.
All right, let's talk about, last time we had you on, we talked about the mediation aspect of divorce. Again, very important. But let's take a step back and talk about the team an individual needs to assemble to help them with their divorce.
Yeah, I think that people think singularly about this question. I need a divorce lawyer. But there are so many other individuals that can provide that support system for someone going through a divorce. I'll list a few: a financial advisor, an accountant, an estate planning attorney, a mental health professional for you and or for your children. These are all individuals that can provide that scaffolding to help you get through the process, not on your own and not on an island. You need your team with you to support the approach that you're taking in the process.
I think you bring up a really good point, because anytime people generally, and myself included, having not gone through the process, you think of divorce, you think of attorney, and you think about the legal aspects of separating and divorcing and what that encompasses. But you bring up really important aspects. There's a financial aspect here, Alex. There's a mental health aspect here. Again, really important. And how do you find your team? How do you, John Wooden, the UCLA coach, used to say, you build the plan, you recruit the players for the plan. But how do I find my attorney? How do I find my financial advisor?
Well, all divorce lawyers or financial advisors are not created equal. And it's important to find ones that work well with your personality. Are they responsive to your needs? Are they empathetic with your situation? And the best place is to ask your friends, your family, your colleagues, who are those professionals that might work well with me? There's a division of labor in a marriage, and I'm speaking from a financial perspective, that it may be that one person is more in charge of managing the household, running the kids' extracurriculars, making sure dinner is prepared, and then the other partner is more in charge of the financial aspects of the partnership. When you're getting divorced, it's important that both are well tuned into both aspects of running the household and the finances, and you may need somebody to help you through that.
And I would imagine that they're not different spokes on a wheel, meaning today I'm going to go to my financial advisor. Tomorrow I'm going to go to my divorce attorney. On Wednesday, I'm going to go to a mental health professional. They have to work in concert together. Do you bring them together? We have the benefit today of technology. Do you bring them all together on a Zoom? Of course, you've got to be conscious of time and rates and costs, but do you bring them all together so that they can work interchangeably?
Not just time and rates and costs that you need to be sensitive to. You also need to be sensitive to confidentiality and where those conversations, the attorney-client privilege, for example, it can be maintained if it's just you and your attorney speaking, but if others are introduced into the conversation, that privilege falls by the wayside. But it is really important that the right hand know what the left hand is doing. And so in order for the financial advisor to provide, a good advice with respect to what a support arrangement might be or what a good allocation of the assets might be, he or she needs to be tuned into the tax implications of what that proposal might look like, or what your spouse is arguing on the other side, which your attorney would share. So all of these individuals need to be working together. And you're right, being able to bring everyone together on Zoom, it doesn't need to be on a regular basis, but the approach needs to be unified so that the end result is one that works holistically for the client.
And you bring up the attorney-client privilege. That's something not being an attorney, I probably wouldn't have thought about. Is there one role in particular that has to be the quarterback? Is it the attorney? Is it the mediator, which is your role, to be the quarterback? I'm using that because it's almost football season, to lead the team. Because someone going through divorce, there's the emotional ups and downs, there's the day-to-day life. All these things kind of tugging on you. So does one of those people need to be a quarterback?
I think the divorce lawyer is the quarterback who's orchestrating the approach. He or she is determining, is this a case that's fit for alternative dispute resolution, meaning mediation, in which event I would, get involved. Does this case call for a financial advisor? Do we need an accountant? Do we need a estate planning counsel to come in and talk about how this proposed allocation of the assets may work for you going forward into the future for future generations? I'm mindful of not getting too many cooks in the kitchen, but also making sure that you have the individuals that are critical to making that whole picture work. And so I do think it is the divorce lawyer who's going to quarterback the team.
Too many cooks spoils the broth, as they say, or the sauce, or whatever the analogy is. Whatever it may be. I want to end our conversation on mental health, because that's a big part of what's being covered today in society. This is probably, Alex, an underestimated part of the process. You talked about finance. You talked about the attorney-client privilege. You talked about having the right plan. Do divorcees or those going through a divorce, do they underestimate the impact of their own mental health, but also their children and their ex-spouse?
I think absolutely. And it's really important, when you're on an airplane, you're supposed to put your mask on first before you help anybody else. You have to be able to take care of yourself before you can take care of your kids and your work life. And so it's really important to have that mental health professional to lean on. You're going through a really difficult time. No one's minimizing that a divorce is a big deal in someone's life. You need some help, and that's okay.
Yeah, I certainly agree. In today's environment, so many things being pulling on people. You can really get out of whack, especially with so much change like a divorce. Alex, we're going to have to leave it there. It's so great to see you. Thanks so much for joining us, and we look forward to having you back on the program next month.
Sounds good. Thank you.
And don't forget to subscribe to our daily newsletter, The Morning Pulse, and get all the news in one place. We're back again tomorrow with another edition of BRN. I'm Jeff Snyder. Stay safe, keep on saving, and don't forget, roll with the changes.